Although both quadriceps and patellar tendinopathy involve tendons around the knee, they actually have different injury mechanisms, which means they have different treatments. Comparing the two, the location gives a clear indication of which tendon is aggravated. For the patellar tendon, the pain is on the bottom portion of the patella, whereas the quadriceps tendon, the pain is actually on the top side of the patella. While it might be tempting to just use a rehab program for patellar tendinopathy for the treatment of quadriceps tendinopathy, the quadriceps tendon is actually loaded more in knee flexion, which means that the rehab program for quadriceps tendinopathy is actually going to be a little bit different than the rehab program for a patellar tendinopathy. So in this video, we'll go over an exercise progression for quadriceps tendinopathy. The first exercise is an isometric, which means that the quad is going to contract, but the knee isn't going to move during the exercise. Being in a prone position gives us a little bit more control over how much knee flexion we're going to load into. Again, if we're trying to bias towards that quadriceps tendon, we want to load into more knee flexion if it's tolerated. So to perform the exercise, hold the band, and we can start with the knee at about 90 degrees, and we can extend the knee and hold for 30 to 45 seconds. We want to use a pretty strong band because we want to contract the muscle to maybe about 70% of max, so it's actually going to be a pretty hard contraction. And then as tolerated, we can bring the knee into more knee flexion, and then again extend from that position and still hold for 30 to 45 seconds. For most episodes of quadriceps tendinopathy, we can actually start with an isotonic exercise, which just means that we're going to move the knee with the resistance. So again, we can be in this prone position, and then from here, just slowly extend the knee as far as we can go against that resistance, and then slowly back to that original starting position. We want to perform these slowly, so the whole contraction should take 6 to 8 seconds. So it's a 3 to 4 second contraction with extension, and then 3 to 4 seconds slowly coming back to that starting position. The next progression is an elevated split squat, and by elevating the front leg, we're loading in a little bit more knee flexion, which is going to bias that quadriceps tendon a little bit more. We want to make sure when we do this, we're leaning over that front leg, so we're putting more load on that front leg. Obviously, if that's too much, we can lean back a little bit, which will make the exercise a little bit easier. And then from this position, we just want to slowly lower ourselves down and then extend back up, using the left leg just for balance mostly and trying to put most of the weight on that front leg. And so again, when we're doing this, we want to make sure that we're putting enough time under tension on that tendon to get it to adapt. So we want to do them slowly over a 3 to 4 second contraction for both the concentric and the eccentric. So it'd be a 3 to 4 second lower down, and then again a 3 to 4 second contraction back up. And then we can further challenge that quadriceps tendon by performing a slow step up. So step up onto the box, and then weight on the front leg, slowly extend all the way up, and then slowly extend back down to the ground. And then just repeat. So again, step up, slowly extend, and then slowly back down to that starting position. And then the final exercise is a reverse Nordic, which is a heavy eccentric muscle contraction for the quadricep muscles. This is a great exercise when we look at return to sport for our jumping athletes, because the quadriceps have to contract eccentrically to absorb the load when they land. So we're getting them ready to actually return back to sport. So to perform, start in an upright position like so, and then slowly lower ourselves back down to the ground, trying to go as slow and controlled as you can. And then bring yourself back up to that starting position, and then just repeat. And then back up. If that concentric muscle contraction at the end is a little bit too much, so let's say we're slowly lowering ourselves back, and then this is too much, we could just bend the hips to sit back and then bring ourselves up, because we're really just focused on that eccentric muscle contraction. However, it's good to do both the concentric and the eccentric muscle contraction for any sort of tendinopathy. And if you made it this far in the video, I hope that you found this information useful. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below.